Hi, I'm Seamless, and today I want to talk about brute force sound designing. This is the term that I've just been saying for a while about essentially what I do when I can't get a clever way of doing something to work. Like, say, for example, if I happen to know that someone made a sound a certain way using a certain kind of synthesis, and I see the sound, and I really can't figure out how they use that synthesis to achieve that sound, but it kind of sounds like something else. It kind of sounds like this other thing that isn't at all the process, but it just kind of sounds like it. Brute force sound design is where you just do what it sounds like, even if you know that's not what was done. Because ultimately, if you can get to the end result without, I mean, without sounding bad, like if you can still get a good result of what you want, even if it wasn't the process that you wanted to do it, but you can still get it, then isn't that just fine? Like, isn't that the goal? There's lots of ways to kind of approach this. Like, I was pretty fond of using visualization, like spectral visualization when I'm doing 75Ks to 40K, 45, 40Ks, and looking at, like, the movements of harmonics that result in the sound sounding the way they do. And if I can't figure out like how they made the harmonics move that way, then I could also just like measure where they move at specific times and then make a filter that looks like that curve and just move it around and automate it that way to get more or less the same result. Like, it's a lot of work and it's dumb because that's the not clever way. That's the not smart way of like utilizing FM synthesis in a clever way that elicits the particular kind of change that we want. It's brute force sound design where you're doing it the dumb way, but you can still do it. Like, it still results in the sound that you want, and that's just that's what I refer to that as essentially you're brute forcing it. Like, you can't figure it out. You're like wasting time trying to do something clever that's just not happening. So just whatever. Stick to stuff and arranging it in such a way that you can get the results that you want. It's kind of an important lesson to that, though. It's not so much about sort of learning. It's more results based. Is what I mean by that. What I was going to say that I didn't say that you didn't hear me say it, so like you didn't need me to clarify it. It's more about you just want to get to the end result less than you want to do it the way that they did it. I'm more often interested in figuring out how things were done the way that they were done, just because I am interested in engineering like that. But if I really really need to have a sound done, like however it is that you can get to the result that you want is how it's done. So just kind of keep that in mind. And also, like, when you're it's something that I've done is that when you listen to music that like you idolize and that you're trying to emulate, that you were learning to how to make this kind of music and you really want to do it, that you tend to envision much more complicated procedures to create it than likely exist. Like, at least in terms of like that particular producer, plenty of producers that I looked up to when I was younger, like I assumed were pretty much only doing things in the complicated way because I liked to think that of them. I like to think that the people who are that high up got that high up because they're all geniuses and they know what they're doing at all times and they know everything about how they're doing what they're doing. And that's almost never the case, actually. Sometimes it is. Sometimes there are just those kinds of geniuses wandering around doing kick-ass shit, and they're never like, and they'll just always be smarter than you. But most of the time, these are the kinds of people that like you probably know more about what they're doing than they do. And I mean this in the sort of the general you. People, like, if you're interested at all in learning how to do sound design, then you are already, just by that nature alone, are more qualified to be doing the sort of stuff than most people who are, top 100 DJ. But that is neither here nor there. It's not even really good or bad because ultimately the results are what matter, right? And to that end, like these people who are not necessarily doing things a complicated way, if it sounds like a kind of a simplistic process is what they're doing to you when you hear the sound, it's like, that just sounds like a supersaw. And you're like, nah, that's something else. It's like a bunch of layers and a whole bunch of cool stuff and like some EQs, and band splitting and multi-band compression with the reverb and just huge chains, which are cool. You can do that. Nothing wrong with huge chains. But like, if you're doing that and you're not getting the result that you want, and you think to yourself, it just kind of sounds like a supersaw, then maybe it just is a supersaw. And maybe it is just a supersaw with white noise and reverb and like a big empty room and a kick drum on there. Like, if it sounds like something and that you can easily, especially if you could easily identify a particular process in your mind that you've done before, that your brain is helpfully reminding you of when you hear something as a memory, because you're going, wait, that kind of sounds like when you do these kinds of things. Or even if it's not sound design, like not even like engineering related, like it has nothing to do with the DAWs or synth or anything. You hear a sound and you go, it kind of sounds like when I go beep 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 beep. Like, if you have a sound that you can make with your face, that sounds like a synth, then why not make the sound with your face? Because sometimes they do that too. And it's, again, a results-based thing. It's about the idea that you're going to get to the end result no matter how you got there. Even if you can't get there the same way they did, you can still get there. And that's the goal that you want, isn't it? You want to make the thing that you want to have a song. You want to make the thing be what you want, kind of way. And however way you decide to get there, be it, sound design with engineering that you're doing on purpose, or that you're using a bunch of presets. I really don't care. I really stopped caring about that whole thing because, like I said, However it is that you want to get to where you want to go is how you get there. Yeah. Anyway, brute force sound design. The idea that you're essentially going to give up being smart about it and you're just going to do what it sounds like. And ultimately, for a lot of people, that's going to work out better than trying to be clever. Not because you're all idiots, no, because you're smarter than that. Because you really just want to make music and you really just want to have it, like that to be your goal. I have different goals. I have particularly different goals about like what I want with sound design and what I want when learning particular kinds of sound design. Has less to do with the music and more with the idea that I just want to know stuff. Has less to do with perhaps the same values that you might have yourself. And sometimes I feel like people think that you should have those values just because I do or because someone else like me does. But no, it's results. Results are all that matters. If the industry has taught me nothing, it is that results are all that matters. Anyway, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.